Most people spend years searching for the elixir of youth, assuming it's either a myth, a marketing trick, or something reserved for science fiction. But here's the uncomfortable truth. A real elixir of youth may have been quietly inside your body all along, and almost no one talks about it. Not because it isn't powerful, but because it doesn't come in a flashy bottle or a viral headline. This molecule is called Klotho. It's a real, scientifically documented protein linked to longevity, brain protection, inflammation control, and how well you age over time. When Klotho levels are higher, people tend to maintain better mobility, balance, cognitive clarity, and functional fitness as they get older. When it drops, which happens naturally with age, the decline often shows up as fatigue, stiffness, loss of strength after 50, and reduced independence. The shocking part? Most people only learn about it after those changes begin. And here's why this matters to you. Klotho isn't fixed. You're not powerless. Science has identified 3 evidence-based strategies that can help support Klotho naturally through movement, nutrition, and smart supplementation. No hype, no shortcuts, just practical tools that improve health span, quality of life, and how to age better in the real world. Stay with me, because once you understand how this works, you'll never look at aging the same way again. Klotho isn't a buzzword dreamed up by marketers. It's a real protein discovered in 1997, and its name comes straight out of Greek mythology. Klotho was one of the fates, the one who spun the thread of life. Scientists chose that name for a reason. When researchers altered this gene in animal models, lifespan changed dramatically. That alone should make you pause. In the world of longevity and evidence-based health, names like that aren't given lightly. At its core, Klotho acts as a co-receptor for a hormone called FGF23, which helps regulate phosphate and vitamin D metabolism. That may sound technical, but here's why it matters to you. Phosphate balance affects vascular health, bone strength, and kidney function, 3 pillars of aging well. When Klotho works properly, vitamin D signaling stays controlled instead of becoming chaotic. Think of Klotho as a master regulator that keeps the system calm, efficient, and resilient, especially as the body ages. But Klotho doesn't stop there. Independently, it acts as a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant molecule. It down-regulates inflammatory pathways like NF-κB and NLRP3, key drivers of what scientists now call inflammaging. It also plays a role in protecting neurons, supporting brain health, and even suppressing abnormal cell growth. That's why Klotho shows up again and again in conversations about health span, quality of life, and functional fitness, not just lifespan. Here's where things get uncomfortable in a useful way. In animal studies, overexpression of the Klotho gene extended lifespan by up to 30%. In humans, lower Klotho levels are consistently linked with chronic kidney disease, type 2 diabetes, and neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's. That doesn't mean Klotho is magic, but it does mean it's a signal worth paying attention to. And once you understand what happens to Klotho as you age, the next question becomes unavoidable. Why does it decline so sharply, and what can you actually do about it? Here's the part most people never hear until it's already happening. Klotho levels don't decline slowly or politely with age, they drop steeply. Starting in midlife, circulating Klotho decreases decade by decade, often long before symptoms appear. You may feel mostly fine, but under the surface, the biology of healthy aging is quietly shifting. This is one of those longevity truths that doesn't make headlines, but it absolutely shapes your future health span. What makes this decline especially important is that Klotho isn't just a passive marker of aging. It's an active driver. Lower Klotho means weaker control over inflammation, oxidative stress, and mineral balance. Over time, that accelerates vascular stiffening, muscle loss, cognitive vulnerability, and reduced mobility. This is how aging sneaks up on people. Not overnight, but through small biological changes that compound until independence starts slipping. Think about it this way. Many people assume declining strength after 50 is normal, balance issues are just aging, and low energy is unavoidable. But biology doesn't work that way. These changes often reflect declining protective systems, including Klotho. When that protection fades, the body becomes more reactive, more inflamed, and less resilient. That's when functional fitness erodes. Not because you stopped caring, but because no one explained what was actually happening. And here's the twist most people miss. This decline is modifiable, not completely reversible, not magically erased, but influenceable. Lifestyle choices can slow it, stabilize it, and in some cases partially restore function. That's where the story starts to change. Because once you understand what lowers Klotho, the next logical question becomes far more empowering. What daily actions can increase it, and which one matters most? If there's one place where the science becomes both encouraging and practical, it's here. Physical activity isn't just good for you in a generic way. It directly signals the body to increase Klotho expression. In fact, research shows that even a single bout of exercise can raise circulating Klotho levels. That's remarkable. It means your body can respond fast, even after 50 or 60, as long as the signal is strong enough and sent consistently. Here's the deeper insight most people miss. Skeletal muscle isn't just for movement. It's an endocrine organ. When you challenge muscle tissue, it releases signaling molecules that communicate with the brain, kidneys, and vascular system. Klotho is part of that conversation. This is why strength after 50 matters so much. Not for looks, but for longevity, mobility, balance, and long-term independence. Muscle talks, and when it talks, Klotho listens. Now, this doesn't mean reckless workouts or punishing routines. The evidence points toward intensity with intention. Short bouts of higher intensity work, like interval training, combined with resistance training, seem especially effective. For example, brisk uphill walking intervals, cycling bursts, or controlled strength sessions using compound movements, like squats to a chair, loaded carries, or step-ups. Functional fitness beats flashy exercises every time, especially for healthy aging. This is where many people hesitate, and understandably so. High intensity doesn't mean dangerous. It means relative intensity. What's challenging for you is what matters. The goal isn't exhaustion, it's stimulation. When exercise is dosed correctly, it becomes one of the safest forms of biohacking available, evidence-based, accessible, and deeply protective. And once movement is in place, it naturally raises another question. If exercise is the strongest signal, what role does nutrition play in supporting Klotho behind the scenes? Once movement sends the signal, nutrition determines whether the body can respond properly. Klotho doesn't operate in isolation. It depends on metabolic context. Diets that reduce chronic inflammation and stabilize energy availability create an internal environment where longevity pathways function more efficiently. This is why nutrition for healthy aging isn't about restriction for the sake of discipline, but about clarity, consistency, and support for long-term health span. One pattern that repeatedly shows up in the research is a lower calorie, higher protein approach. Not extreme, just intentional. Adequate protein intake helps preserve muscle mass, which indirectly supports Klotho signaling through skeletal muscle activity. For someone over 50, that might mean prioritizing high-quality protein at each meal. Eggs and Greek yogurt in the morning, fish or lean poultry at lunch, legumes or tofu paired with vegetables at dinner. Simple, repeatable, and effective. Certain bioactive compounds deserve special mention, especially green tea. Regular green tea consumption has been associated with higher Klotho levels and improved cognitive resilience. It's not about megadoses or extracts, just consistency. 1 or 2 cups daily, unsweetened, becomes a quiet ally for brain health and longevity. Add in polyphenol-rich foods like berries, olive oil, and leafy greens, and you're actively reducing inflammaging, the chronic low-grade inflammation that accelerates aging. The big picture here is synergy. Nutrition doesn't create Klotho on its own. It amplifies what exercise initiates. When inflammation is lower and nutrients are sufficient, the body becomes more responsive to longevity signals. This naturally sets the stage for the next question many people ask. If lifestyle does so much, is there a role for supplements? And if so, which ones actually make sense without crossing into hype? This is where things usually go wrong online. So let's slow it down and stay grounded. There is no direct Klotho supplement, and anyone claiming otherwise is selling hope, not evidence. But that doesn't mean supplementation has no role. In evidence-based health, the smartest strategy is indirect support, optimizing the signals and cofactors that allow your body to express Klotho naturally. Precision beats quantity every time. One of the most important modulators here is vitamin D, specifically its active form, calcitriol. Vitamin D doesn't just support bones, it directly activates Klotho gene expression. When vitamin D levels are low, Klotho signaling weakens. This is especially relevant after 50, when vitamin D deficiency becomes common due to reduced sun exposure, changes in skin synthesis, and altered metabolism. Optimizing, not megadosing, becomes a quiet but powerful lever for longevity and health span. Practically speaking, this means testing when possible and supplementing intelligently. A high absorption vitamin D3 taken with meals that contain fat is usually the most effective approach. Many people pair it with magnesium to support proper activation, which is a smart move for mobility, balance, and muscle function as well. This isn't about stacking supplements. It's about removing bottlenecks so the system can work the way it's designed to. This is also a good moment to be honest with yourself. Supplements don't replace movement, nutrition, or sleep, but they can amplify consistency. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by supplement shelves or wasted money chasing promises, you're not alone. That frustration is exactly why clarity matters. And it's why in the pinned comment there's a resource that helps simplify this entire process step by step. Because once supplementation is aligned, the final piece becomes less about biology and more about how all these strategies work together in real life. Here's the insight that quietly separates people who age well from those who chase fixes forever. Klotho isn't something you take. It's something your body decides to produce based on the signals it receives every day. Movement, nutrition, recovery, light supplementation, they don't act independently. They form a conversation, and your biology is always listening. This is the part of longevity science that feels empowering once you truly get it. Think of Klotho as a reflection of how safe, capable, and adaptable your body believes it is. When you move with intention, maintain muscle, eat to reduce inflammation, and support key nutrients, the body shifts out of survival mode. That shift matters. Chronic stress, inactivity, and metabolic chaos tell the body to conserve, not invest. But consistent functional habits signal resilience, and resilience is what supports health span, balance, mobility, and long-term independence. This is why doing a little of everything works better than obsessing over one perfect habit. A short strength session, a daily walk, protein at each meal, adequate vitamin D, none of these are dramatic, but together they reinforce each other. Over time, they compound. Much like compound interest, functional fitness and evidence-based health don't feel exciting day to day, but months later, the difference is undeniable. You move better, think clearer, recover faster. That's how you age better without chasing youth. And this is where perspective matters. Longevity isn't about biohacking harder. It's about aligning with biology. When people finally understand this, they stop asking, what's the next supplement? And start asking, what signal am I sending today? That mindset shift changes everything. Because your goal isn't youth, it's independence. And once that clicks, the next step is knowing how to put it all together, day after day, without overwhelm. Klotho isn't a myth. It's not hype. And it's definitely not reserved for elite labs or futuristic treatments. It's a real longevity protein. And what matters most is this: your daily choices influence it. Movement that challenges your muscles, nutrition that reduces inflammation, and strategic supplementation aren't random habits. Together, they shape how your body ages, how long you stay strong, and how well you preserve your independence over time. This isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing the right things consistently. Exercise that builds strength after 50, nutrition that supports mobility, balance, and brain health. Vitamin D optimized, not guessed. When those pieces align, you're no longer reacting to aging. You're actively guiding it. And that's the difference between simply living longer and truly improving your health span and quality of life. So let me ask you directly, which strategy are you going to start with? Movement, nutrition, vitamin D? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them, and they help this community grow smarter together. If this video helped you see aging differently, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. And before you go, don't waste money chasing supplements that don't work. Watch this next video on your screen. Stop wasting money on supplements. These 3 longevity essentials are backed by human trials, because knowing what actually works is just as important as knowing what to avoid.